Well, hello. I am Faith from Have a Little Faith, and I am here with Barb today, and we're going to talk a little bit about her company. Barb, why don't you just tell us the name of your company and a little overview about what your company does?
Thanks, Faith. My company is Making Meaningful Connections, and it is really about helping people create positive relationships in their lives, whether it's kids to help diffuse bullying, or seniors to help them find joy in their memories, or organizations, boards, companies to help them be invested in each other so they're invested in what they're working on.
I guess the first thing I wanted to know is you mentioned seniors. So how do you help them build new relationships? Because as you get older, it does get harder to build a relationship with people. So what's your message for that?
Well, one, there's circumstances that come up. They may have lost a lot of their friends, or they have to have moved out of their home because they couldn't care for themselves anymore. And maybe they're in an assisted living and they don't know anybody.
Yeah.
So my workshop for seniors, Happiness in the Five Senses, helps them find joy through their memories. And something really special happens. Someone else says, "Me too.
Yeah.
I like doing that. My grandmother made that recipe." And so when they start sharing, they start connecting, and then they feel that they have something, in common and something to do, and it brings joy back into their lives.
So you talked a little bit about that, but I guess to be more specific, what strategies do you teach to help them stay mentally and emotionally engaged, and be able to remember all that stuff and to build those long-lasting friendships as they go into these homes?
I definitely encourage seniors to keep their brain active, whether it's doing crossword puzzles or jigsaw puzzles or brain games or things like that. That really helps them stay fresh. And when they also talk about their memories, sometimes they don't know what they had for lunch, but they can tell you what their grandmother made for Sunday dinner.
Yeah.
And so when they're talking about the toys they might have played with as a kid or the activities that they did, that stimulates the brain itself and helps bring more things to the surface. So it's a real positive effect.
Yeah. As the family members get older and sometimes they have to go to homes or have caretakers, what is the best way for families to help them? Like, how can they support them as they're getting older? Maybe not just financially, but, just how can they take care of them? Like, what's the best way to connect with them?
Well, not all seniors are in assisted living. Some may be, still at home or living with their families. But there are programs like the YMCA that have a program for seniors. In Middle Tennessee, there's 50 Forward. In other cities, there might be other senior centers.
Yeah.
And a lot of churches and synagogues also have programs for seniors. So getting them involved and out with other people as opposed to just sitting in the house is going to be very, very stimulating. And finding people with similar experiences.
Yeah.
Again, it's all about that for me.
Okay. So really, if you have people that are older that may need some help or assistant care, or just living with you, just spending time with them, taking them out, don't treat them like they can't do nothing.
Exactly. And if they are in an assisted living facility or even in a nursing home or temporarily, they have activities, and encourage them to go to the activities. I do my workshop at a lot of senior centers. So it's great to see them come out, meet people, make friends, and they run programs all the time. So there shouldn't be a fear of having other people interact with your family.
Yeah. I just went to see my grandmother a couple weeks ago. She just turned 89 yesterday.
Wow.
But when I went to visit her, I thought she was just going to want to, stay at the house and just chill. We went out every single day to eat, to shop. She wanted to get out. She didn't want to sit at home.
I love that.
So we did. I told her she wore me out. I was like, girl, you wore me out going shopping and then going out to eat every day. I'm like, I'm not used to like going to all these stores and stuff.
Yeah.
We spent like 2 hours in Target just looking at every aisle.
Well, next time you spend time with her, ask her questions about things she did as a kid, because it's so different from the things we do or our kids do. And it's really cool to hear what their life was like, because it was so different. They didn't have computers. They didn't have AI. They didn't have the technology. I remember my dad told me they got the first black and white TV on their block.
Wow.
You know, back in the day. And so it's pretty amazing to hear those stories and let them share, because it gives them purpose.
Yeah. She's in town for her birthday. It was yesterday, and then my birthday's today.
Yes.
So we're birthday are together, and I'm adopted, so she always says like, I was born in the U.S. I had the same birthday as her, but we were all just like kind of reminiscing about the past and just different things that we remember, and it was fun. And she talked a little bit about my we call him Papa John and her Mama Faye. So Faye's her name, John was his name. He's passed, but we were talking about him and just their life together the other day, and it's just fun to remember all that and talk about that and hear about what it was like.
You're blessed to have your grandmother still here.
Yes.
Mine died, many, many years ago, but she and her sister used to entertain the troops in New York, which was just amazing to hear.
Yeah.
And my grandmother was an opera singer, and she played piano by ear. And we have some videos of that, but we have, when our family gets together, we have family songs that we still sing, and we feel like we're honoring grandma.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Yeah. So I definitely agree with what you're saying. Like, just because they've gotten older doesn't mean they want to sit at home and do nothing. They had a life. They're still human beings. They still want to go out and do stuff. They don't want to be left out. And I feel like we just feel like, oh, they can't. This is going to be too much for them. But I mean, I feel like they can tell you if it's too much. And then you can sign a sense of like with the doctors and stuff, if it is too much for them to do certain things. But they still want to go out. Like my grandmother doesn't. We keep trying to get her to move here, and she doesn't want to leave Texas because she has all her friends and family. Most of them live in Texas, and she doesn't want to leave her home. So, which I get. But selfishly, I'm like, come into Tennessee so I can see you more often. But yeah, I mean, they just want to get out and still have a life. So you never get too old to live life.
Exactly. And if she doesn't have the capacity to go to Target on her own, what a treat you gave her by giving her that opportunity just to wander around and look at things in a store she doesn't get to see very often. So good for you.
It was fun, and I enjoy hanging out with my grandmother. I tell people, like, you got to enjoy your grandparents, Like, they're not going to be here forever. Enjoy the time you get with them. And I try to cherish every moment I can with her. So, like I said, she's here this week, and I've been over there at least to my parents like 4 times this week. And it's way out of the way, but I was like, I don't care.
Well, what a fun birthday celebration the two of you get to have together.
Yes, it's always so special when she comes here. So you've talked about diffusing bullying, and what are the root causes you often see behind bullying behavior?
It's really interesting because often a bully can be a victim bully, meaning they were bullied themselves, and by bullying somebody else, it makes them feel bigger, stronger. It empowers them. And if they were made to feel not enough, it could have been by family, it could have been by other kids, who knows? But something triggered in them. And because we learn behaviors, right? Nobody wakes up one day and is a bully. So they've encountered something or somebody, and then that's how they make themselves feel stronger and in control, is to bully somebody else. So I've done some workshops for kids to help them create relationships and positive relationships, and it's by finding things in common. And it might be, depending on their age, it's if I'm working with little kids, it might be some simple things like who has a pet or, who likes to play video games or whatever it is. Older, I'll get into talking about core values.
Yeah.
The biggest boost for me is when I know there's a kid in the room who may have been a bully.
Yeah.
And suddenly he befriends the other kid that he didn't know or like before. And suddenly, I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but I've seen it happen a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And because somebody reaches out or that child reaches out or another kid reaches out and they become friends,
Yeah.
it's the most beautiful thing in the world. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, I know that I've connected somebody, and that's really meaningful.
Yeah, I think people forget that too. And I think they try to portray that a lot in movies these days. Like, hey, this person doesn't have a happy home life. Like, things are wrong in their life with their families, or they've had something happen with a friend, or, I mean, there's been some kind of trauma that's happened that causes them. So they're reacting, and that's how, like, we all deal with our trauma in different ways, and that's just how they're dealing with it.
Right.
But we just think they're mean.
Somebody could be from a poor family and get picked on, and so they find a way to pick on others. Or, it's not always the way it happens, but it's learned behavior. We learn a lot from our families.
Yeah.
And so, I've even seen where perhaps a parent was aggressive and harsh. They learn that behavior. That's how you get what you want. So it's really about teaching kids to look through a different lens at each other and find that common ground, find that joy, find play, and make how to make friends, because not everyone knows how.
Yeah, yeah. And it really is taking the time to, like, take a step back, look what's going on, see what may be the cause. Obviously, that's not the child's responsibility, but it's our responsibility as adults to take that step back. We see the bullying and be like, well, why are they acting out like that? And how can we help them and support them? Because most of the time it's because they don't feel like they're worth anything. So they're picking on people to make themselves feel better.
100%.
Yeah. So I think that's awesome that you are able to work with them. So I do have a question. I also know you help the victims, like those who are bullied. How do you help with them dealing with being bullied and dealing with their confidence and, I mean, obviously not becoming a bully themselves one day, Like, how do you work with that?
So I've seen people do programs where they have people put their head down and raise their hand if they've been bullied. I don't go there.
Yeah.
What I try and do is come in a side door and teach empathy. So it might be if you heard somebody being mean to somebody else, you saw someone was being bullied, if that was your friend that was, feeling hurt, what would you say to make them feel better?
Yeah.
How could you reach out to them and let them know that there is somebody that cares about them? Whether it's a friend or someone you don't know, we all have the capacity to reach out and lend a hand in some way. And that empowers both people.
Yeah.
Right? And teaching kindness, teaching empathy, teaching connection, all of those things, it may not turn the bully around yet, but then, doesn't mean that bully may not witness it, or even somebody reaching out with kindness to them. It's not going to be instantaneous.
Yeah.
But when you learn to reach out and help others, it changes them and it changes you.
Yeah. It does. I like that you don't try to. I like that you're going more towards empathy and just showing kindness. Like, we all need to learn how to do that, Like, really just showing the kindness and having empathy changes everything. So.
And in today's world, if you watch the news, there's so much negativity. And it's not that the newscasters are negative, it's the stuff they're reporting. Another shooting on another campus, somebody outraged and screaming at somebody else.
Yeah.
And a lot of it are people's frustrations for whatever reasons.
Yeah.
They've had something unhappy in their life and they're reacting. So, kindness, caring, even if it's a little impact that it makes, it's huge in another way. And I think it's so important.
Yeah. What's little for you could be huge for them.
Absolutely.
And I mean, yeah, like you said, with all the shootings and stuff, like people are like, oh, I didn't see that coming. And I'm like, there were definitely warning signs. Like, and nothing was done. This kid, usually these kids or even the adults, they have things that happened before and people just ignore them instead of reaching out and doing the kind thing and helping them because it's uncomfortable. But we have to do better about that.
When I was in college, I was part of a Big Brother, Big Sister organization, and I was matched with a young boy in school, and he was in a foster home, and he was basically there because they got paid money to house him, and they really didn't do much with him. And I asked him what he wanted to do, and he said, I want to go fishing. I've never been fishing in my life. I said, teach me. And it was the most magical day because he was shining and he was made to feel valuable. And I learned something really cool. And it was like such a joy. I hope more people will look at getting involved with programs like that. Or there are so many organizations where there's kids that have needs and they need friends. They need attention, positive attention. And that was such a remarkable lesson for me to do that. It was part of being in sociology class. And I think that may have even been a stepping stone to the things I do now because I saw the impact it made, but it also made an impact on me.
Wow. Yeah. And like that wasn't much for you to do. Like all you had to do is go pick him up and maybe get some fishing supplies and
he had
that probably changed. Oh, he did.
Yeah.
So that probably changed his view on things.
Yeah.
Like, oh, somebody actually cares about me and wants to go learn something that I know how to do. Like, wow,
Teach me. It was so much fun. Like I can picture it right now. It was really, really fun.
Aw. Yeah, that's awesome. You really don't know like the little things that you do that make a huge impact.
Yeah.
Like you just don't.
Finding out about people and what they care about can be so exciting for both parties.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I've never heard about that, or tell me more. It empowers us in a good way.
So obviously we don't have time to talk about everything you do. We're going to have to do a part 2 with you.
Yay.
Because you have so many things. And this is just the first set of questions. I have a whole nother set of questions for you for the other part that you do. But I would like to know, with your work, you focus on creating meaningful connections. Why is that so important today?
Technology is great. It does not connect us as humans. And the way people can truly interact. I mean, this kind of technology is fascinating and this is great because we can do that. And there are people out there. I hope this is meaningful to you. But to, some of the AI stuff or, people are on their phones all the time. They're not connecting with other people. They're not hearing what other people say. And technology can help facilitate some things, but stuff has to come from inside. Our thoughts, feelings, ideas, listening, holding space for one another. AI can't do that.
No.
And so it's knowing you're not alone and your connections aren't just people on the street you bump into, but are truly connected to, and they can make your life better. Making somebody smile. It's awesome.
Yeah.
My friend's daughter came for a work thing from her college, and she let me know she was in town, and I took her to the Adventure Science Center, and I took her to breakfast, and we went by Centennial Park, and she listened to some music, and I've known her since she was a little girl, and I got to know her now as an adult, and it was so cool to see her react to things and see her joy. And her joy gave me joy. And I think that's what that human connection is, when we can give joy to each other and feel each other's joy.
Mm-hmm.
That's my goal.
So you did bring up AI. I'm going to bring in one more question before I end this podcast. I kind of want to know what your thoughts are with AI and like how you think it can help us and how you think it is harming us and what we can do about that right now. If you have any thoughts about that.
It's interesting because for some people, it's like very new. There's some fun things. I once did a photo and put myself in a spacesuit and was talking about, the technology in a good way. If it's used for good, if it can be a bridge, then it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone uses it for good. I'm still fascinated in some way by it. It's over my head in a lot of ways. I've done very simple things. So, I prefer face-to-face when it's possible.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've been on Zoom calls and, calls like that, Teams calls and things like that, where you can still connect with people.
Yeah.
There's something special about being in the room with somebody if it's possible, So I don't know where it's going. But definitely it's something in our world. And I'm sure that, my grandchildren will be experimenting, playing with it as they grow older. Technology has some beautiful things. Look, we just sent Artemis to fly by the moon.
Yeah.
Well, that was really cool. So who knows?
To finish this podcast, I would just like to know about one piece of advice or lesson you have learned that you'd want to share with your audience today.
I have a motto, and I learned this from a former boss of mine. This happened, now what? We have choices in the world. Are we going to stay in a state of sadness or depression, or let somebody else see somebody else in that state? This happened. Now what? What are you going to do to move forward to make your life better, or perhaps to make someone else's life better? So which path will you choose? And that's kind of one of the things that I try and live by. Things happen.
Yeah.
But now what? What am I going to do about it? To make my life or someone else's life better.
Yeah, I love that. I always say that. I'm like, look, we all are going to get knocked down in life. I'm like, you can choose to have a self-pity party and stay where you're at, or you can get back up and, figure out the next thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some people don't choose to get back up and their life just falls apart and they're like, woe is me. But I'm like, oh, you just had to get back up. I'm like, yeah, you got knocked down and you're going to get knocked down again. But if you don't get up and try, like, you're never going to continue to grow and be successful and, live the life you really want.
If you're knocked down and there's a door in front of you and you just say, I can't, and you don't go through that door, what are all the things you're missing on the other side? Because they could be beautiful opportunities. Yeah. So we have to take control and take charge of ourselves.
Yeah. There's definitely beauty in the mess, and you just have to choose to see it, and you have to choose to get back up, and you have to choose to live again. So, and some things are harder than others. But yeah, everything, there's some kind of silver lining in everything, in every situation that you can see. But it is harder with some things. But yeah.
And it's okay to ask for help. There are a lot of people there who are willing to help. Some wait to be asked, some offer. Yeah. But it's okay. It's okay to have somebody reach out and give you that hand and help pull you up.
Yeah.
And from that, something beautiful can happen.
Yeah, and I would say to all our listeners today, like, if you are struggling, like, don't be afraid to ask. It's hard. I've gone through a divorce, and it was hard to go and, like, ask for help. I had to go to my parents and be like, I don't know what to do next. Like, can I stay here for a little bit and can you help me figure some things out or just give me the space to figure that stuff out. But I got through it and now I'm here doing a podcast with you. So I chose to get back up, but I went through a lot of difficulties to get here. But I had people in my life that cared. And if you feel like nobody cares, that's not true. Somebody cares. And we'd be happy for you to reach out to us and help you guys get started and even connect with people that can help you. So
there are a lot of programs out there where people can connect, whether it's a community center.
Yeah.
I mentioned churches or synagogues, the Y. There's lots of fun programs out there. Where technology is good, maybe on Facebook, here's what's happening in your community. Volunteering and helping others can empower you feel better. So find things to do, grab a friend, say, come with me. That really can be lifting up your spirit.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me today and being on my podcast. I am Faith from Have a Little Faith. We'll definitely be doing another episode to talk about all the other things you do because we really just hit on two things. You just had so much, and I'm like, we're going to have to break this up. If you want to share your website and the way they can connect with you, Instagram, any of that.
Thank you. So on Facebook, Making Meaningful Connections. I'm also on Instagram, and I have a website. My website is it's barbabramson.com, and you can reach me at barbabramson.com. And a lot of my programs are on there and things that I do. So I thank you for this. This has been really fun.
You're welcome. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for joining me in Seeing the Good. I hope these stories remind you that there's so much light in the world and that maybe, just maybe, you leave with a little more faith in humanity than you had before. This is Faith James, and you're listening to Have a Little Faith.